All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. 1-1 on the season, right? The New York Jets defeat the Tennessee Titans 24-17, a much-needed win, right? Much-needed win. We had the Dolphins lose on Thursday night. The New England Patriots literally just lost to the Seattle Seahawks in overtime. In other words, this short week, home opener against the New England Patriots, massive. Humongous, right? I know it's I understand it's early in the season, it's week 3, but man, if you want to talk about, having a put up or shut up type of game, a game that can really, establish the tone, set the tone for the first half of the season, it really feels as though Thursday night is going to be that. You do not want to lose this early into the year to a division rival. But as far as this game is concerned, right, we got to talk about some of the bright spots. Braylon Allen getting in the end zone 2 times. He looked tough. He looked hard to bring down. He looked powerful as hell. Despite him only being 20 years old, he looks like he belongs, right? And that was one of the biggest keys from last week, right? In the recap video, we were talking, Braylon Allen needs some opportunities. You can't just run Breece Hall into the ground and just expect he's going to do everything, especially not after drafting Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis, double dipping in the draft at running back to not just, to only use Breece Hall. Doesn't make much sense, right? Breece is a great player, but you know what? Braylon Allen was picked for a reason. He was great at Wisconsin for a reason, and I'm happy the Jets gave him an opportunity or opportunities today against Tennessee. He made the most of his opportunities. I'm freaking pumped for Braylon Allen, right? That was probably my favorite point in the game. Braylon Allen's first touchdown. He just kind of zoomed in there and it looked like a bowling ball, right? Awesome stuff. Next up, Will McDonald, 3 sacks. Let's freaking go. Great day for Will McDonald in the backfield. It really felt as though critical moments, Will McDonald stepped up, right? What was it, the 3rd goal to end the game? He had the sack. Huge, right? Not to end the game, but on that game, you guys know what I'm talking about. Last drive of the game. Not that 4th and goal, but yeah, Will McDonald looked fantastic. I felt like shot out of a cannon, fast, electric. And I'm really excited to see, because I feel as though he should get an interview after the game. I'm excited to see kind of where he, where his mindset is at and everything. But yeah, he had a great day. Overall, it was nice to see. And I guess before we dive into that, I do want to say this, right? Mike Williams only had the 1 catch. I believe he only had the 1 catch. Let me just one catch for 19 yards. But that 1 catch came in a massive point of the game, right? It was 2nd and 16. The Jets used, I believe at that point, their 2nd time out of the half. And you're kind of thinking, okay, Nathaniel Hackett, they're probably going to run the ball here 2nd and long, like a draw play or something. And Aaron Rodgers just rips off a pass to Mike Williams and he comes down with it. That's why you sign Mike Williams in the offseason, to make plays like that. So hopefully Mike can get some more passes thrown his way Thursday and beyond as the season goes on here. Now, unfortunately, there were negatives. There were mistakes, and let's talk about them from the Titans' end, because you can definitely make this argument, right, that the Titans, they shot themselves in the foot a lot, right? You had the weird turnover in the Titans had the ball. They're already up 7-0. They're driving down the field. It's 3rd and goal. They could just run it, play it safe, kick the field goal up 10-0. But for some reason, they tried this weird play where they kick it to the outside and the Jets fall on it. It's a turnover, Jets ball. Jets unfortunately can't capitalize on that drive. Rodgers takes a massive sack, massive hit. Long story short, the Titans get the ball back. And Levis just launches it in a double coverage, right? Obvious double coverage. Brandon Echols just picks off the football. It's like, what is going on? Callahan is, in the meantime, freaking out on the sideline, screaming at Will Levis, like, what are you doing? Like, what's going on? If you're a Titans fan watching that in back-to-back weeks there, it's got to be tough, right? It's got to be pretty infuriating. They had the blocked punt, Irv Charles, massive play. That's kind of where I felt as though the Jets' momentum really fell into the Jets' favor. But again, blocked punt, really unfortunate from Tennessee. That's back-to-back weeks where they've had a blocked punt, so an area of concern there for them. You had the Calvin Ridley drop in the second half, right off his hands. I believe that was actually on a 3rd down too. It was either a 3rd down or a 2nd down and long. just moments where you're like, man, I felt as though they didn't really utilize Will Levis's legs enough either, especially in the second half. Just kind of a weird game for Tennessee. And, it's not to say that the Jets were without mistakes, because there were a ton. First thing that comes to mind, right? Clock management. This type of clock management, to me, does not fly against Kansas City, does not fly against the great teams in football, right? You can, like, burning timeouts early, the delay of games, like, we have a veteran quarterback. Why is the play clock going all the way down, like 3, 2, 1, quick, call timeout, we're out of time. It was just kind of weird, right? And looking at that, it brought me back to the Sean Payton comments about Nathaniel Hackett leaving Denver, right? When Sean Payton took over, which was like, they can't even get a playoff. Russ and Hackett, they were, at times they could not even get plays off, and today was just a little reminiscent of that, if we're being totally honest. So the clock management was an issue. My fear was that if the Titans get into the end zone on that last drive, that third and goal, that fourth and goal, and the Jets have to drive down the field to, kick a game-winning field goal, we only had that one timeout with like 30 seconds left. Would that have been enough? Probably not. You would like to have at least 2 in that situation. So I'm glad that didn't come back to bite the Jets in the end. You could talk about just, again, poor run blocking. I just didn't really feel as though it was all that effective, all that great. I mean, Breece Hall on the day had 14 carries, 62 yards, total only 100 rushing yards on the ground, over 24 carries. So quite a bit of carries, not that much production there. I felt like defensively the tackling was not good. Sauce Gardner's tackling just not all that effective. Calvin really just lit up the Jets defense, not even including the drop, which would have went for, solid yards. So they're the safety play, right? Adams made one really nice play, but outside of that, the safeties just weren't, in my opinion, all that impressive. Chuck Clark, that play where Will Levis steps up in the pocket and he hits Calvin Ridley deep down the field on Sauce Gardner, where he doesn't even turn his head around. Ridley gets in for the TD. It was a great grab by him. But and you have Chuck Clark roaming over. That's the type of play where you're looking at it and saying, if the Jets went out and signed like a Quandre Diggs, a Justin Simmons, or one of these former Pro Bowl safeties that were plenty, they were all over the market. That's the type of play where they would swoop over and make that interception. But Clark, coming off the injury, how, is he in 100% game mode, or is he still knocking off the rust a little bit? So I felt like that's kind of where the Jets were, a little exploited. But we also got to talk about the injuries, man. C.J. Mosley obviously gets hurt early on in the game, but Jermaine Johnson, out for the year, it's looking like, with the Achilles. Freaking tough blow. I can't even believe, and I know the first, thing that pops in at a lot of people's heads is the whole Reddick situation. Does this, now increase or put even more pressure on Joe Douglas to get something done? I would say the answer is yeah. Like at times you had Clemens on his knees, Tack McKinley, McGregor, Will McDonald. Can you really trust this group for the rest of the season from here on out? It's a tough sell, right? It's a really tough sell, especially with how the Jets want to play defensively, because I really think it would be a bad look if the Jets went out and traded for a pass rusher, or they signed, somebody like a current free agent. I think that would just look really, really weird. So that's a question ultimately for Joe Douglas, but we'll see how. I know we haven't had the official release of Jermaine Johnson being out for the season, but I believe Solid did address it after the game, that the fear is that he ruptured the Achilles, and the Jets also listed him out immediately. He was carted off the field. So we'll see what happens, man. Just a tough blow, right? Tough blow. And again, overall, not a perfect game. It was an ugly win. Lots of stuff to clean up on a short week. Huge game against New England. But you know what? It's a lot better sitting here right now as a 1-1 football team compared to being 0-2 and talking about the same mistakes. So anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. And as always, go Jets.